Thank you for clicking on this video, and today what I'm going to share with you is MultiProvider. Now, imagine you have a provider that sends something to some widget, then you realize that you need another thing to be sent to that some widget. So what you do is to have another child widget point to another provider that sends something else to some widget. You now have something and something else sent down to the some widget. Wait, there is another thing that you want to pass down on that some widget. So you do the same thing, adding another provider to send down another thing to some widget. Now some widget has something else, and another thing inside the context. It doesn't really look readable, and it seems very messy and very boilerplatey. Fret not, MultiProvider is here, and this would be the refactored code of the earlier example. Inside the MultiProvider, there is provider params, which takes in a list of providers, and in this way it is way more readable than the previous example. Yikes. You have the different providers neatly aligned and has just one child parameters, which does not make it confusing. With this implementation, you are able to get all of the providers you have created earlier in the MultiProvider in a widget or a some widget. So in summary, MultiProvider merges all the providers into a single branch of a widget tree, and this will improve the readability and reduce the boilerplate of creating many providers. With this newfound knowledge, I have a challenge for you. We have a simple MultiProvider that has two providers over here. So the first provider returns a string that is basically my name, Haris, and it has a type string. And we also have another provider that has a type string that returns the age, which is factually not true actually. Now, if I were to create a final variable that references the type string of a provider, what do you think the variable would print out? I'll give you guys 1 second. Well, if your answer is 22, then you're right. That means the last provider in the list over here is the one that's being called here. Now, this is a problem because there is two providers of the same type, and sometimes you may forget on how to differentiate between each of the data. So how do we solve this? Well, what you can do is to create two classes. So the first class is a name class that has a property text, which is a string type, and the next class, the age class, which has a property number, which has the integer type. Then the next thing is that you will change your provider into the classes or objects that you have created so far. So the first one is the name provider that just takes in my name, Haris, and the second one is an age provider which will take in an integer 22. And lastly, you could see that our provider over here is now going to reference the provider name, and you can use the .text property or getter method to get the name. So this actually now differentiate between these two providers. Therefore, if you have more than one data that has the same types, I would highly recommend to create classes to differentiate between them. So in summary, we know what a MultiProvider is and how to use it, and we learned to differentiate the same types of data. We create classes and add it in our objects, and that's how we can differentiate between them. So that's about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want more of these videos, of very short videos explaining certain concept, subscribe down below. And say or comment down which concept I should go through next. So stay safe and all the best. Bye bye.